Hey, what's up everyone? Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. Sorry if I sound a little bit different, but my voice has been going to shit for the past few days and it hasn't been getting any better, and I can't delay the recordings much longer, so please forgive me if something sounds weird. But this is a topic that I need to bring up because it's getting to be pretty important, and it definitely will be in our lifetimes. And that is brain drain. For those of you who aren't aware, that's generally a third world country problem, where all the best and brightest in that country leave and go somewhere else, and the people left behind don't have the brains or the skills to dig themselves out of poverty. Pretty much what's happening is the people who'd be most suited to lead a country to greatness are leaving for other countries. And the reason this is important now is because the West is going to be a victim of this too soon enough, and it's entirely their own fault. You know what they say comes right before the fall, right? That's right, pride. And you got an increasingly powerful group of morons who honestly believe crap like what I'm about to read to you, and you can imagine things aren't going to end well. The article I'm going to go into, I will link in the description box below, of course, so you can check out the whole thing and follow along if you wish. And this time around, I'm just going to be reading through a few choice paragraphs, not really responding too much individually, because this is just what I'm going to use to get into the main part of the video after I'm done. A recent academic journal article claims that meritocratic ideology, so meritocracy is an ideology now, and depoliticized classroom environments contribute to a sense of exclusion and isolation among female students. If you're already cringing, then prepare your anuses because it's getting worse. The professors argue that the emphasis on meritocracy, individualism, and technical prowess in engineering all contribute to a masculine culture that marginalizes women. So basically what this sexist is saying is that women can't keep up with the men, and this same person would call someone like me a sexist, mind you. The lack of self-awareness, man, I swear. But again, it keeps getting worse. The professors are especially concerned with how engineering courses tend to be depoliticized compared to classes in other fields, which they contend is due in part to engineering culture's emphasis on meritocracy and individualism. So these so-called professors have a problem with rationalism. Yeah, I definitely agree with Dave Cullen from Computing Forever on this. I find myself wishing this is just an example of Poe's law, but unfortunately it's not. Socialization into the ideologies of meritocracy and individualism, coupled with a valorization of technical prowess at the expense of socially focused work processes, depoliticizes the gendered structure of the profession. And they say this as if it's a bad thing, as they kind of confirm in the next line. The professors add that this can be problematic, oh there's that word we were waiting for, because students learn that raising concerns about marginalization of themselves or others is tangential or even distracting to what counts as the real practical and objective work of engineering. Yeah, they're breaking away from your brainwashing, and you don't like that, do you? You don't like it at all. Even in these professors' own words, they admit it. They said students learn this stuff. Not they're led to believe or they're manipulated into this. They learn it. In its commitments to empirical science, technical thinking, merit, and individualism, engineering culture allocates what it sees as political issues such as gender equality to the realm of the social and subjective. Because it is. You guys have no idea how hard it is to not just start crying while reading this. As you hear me read this to you, just realize there's people out there stupid enough to actually believe this shit. And not only do they vote, but they hold positions of power in academia. These are the people that are going to be teaching your kids. Any of you ever been in that situation where you had a good 30 IQ points on your boss? Yeah, imagine that expanded across the entire realm of academia. That's what's going on here. But either way, that's pretty much all we need to go into here. The rest of this article, funny enough, basically accuses female engineers of being gender traitors for actually being rational and not agreeing with this bullshit. And this actually leads quite well to the main topic of this video, brain drain. And first off, I gotta say, I know what at least some of you out there are thinking. Oh, this is just a tiny minority within the community, no one takes them seriously anyway. That may be true for now, but their power is only growing. And while that statement may be true in the STEM fields in higher education, it's already blatantly false in the real world in employment. People, even in these highly technical jobs, are already losing their jobs and their livelihoods over political bullshit. You got our best and brightest being kicked to the curb because they offended a bunch of idiots. And this problem is only getting worse, not better. So what happens when the Western world as a whole just keeps doing this more and more? Where are these people who are our best and brightest gonna go? A few of them later on in their careers, maybe they already have fuck you money and they just don't care anymore. They're like, oh, forget it, I'm just gonna retire. But others who are extremely passionate about their work or aren't ready to retire yet, you think they're gonna settle for working at McDonald's the rest of their life? No, of course not. They're gonna go someplace that actually wants them. Like Asia. I've personally known plenty of guys that went and did this. Oh, but that's a very feminist argument there, huh? My personal lived experience doesn't mean much if I can't prove it, right? That's perfectly fair. So let's look at what I believe is the most famous example so far, Tim Hunt. This guy was a British scientist who was one of the world leaders in, I believe, cancer research. And he lost his job over offending someone's precious fifis. So think about that for a second. They threw such a big fit that one of the world's leading cancer researchers lost his job because of it. But this guy, he's smart. He knew he's pretty much persona non grata in the Western academic realm, so he went to Japan. Now he's helping them out. And here's another thing you guys need to realize. It's not just Japan, China, South Korea. It's not just the usual suspects you may think of that are starting to take our best and brightest. And by take our best and brightest, I mean in the sense of adoption, not stealing. It's also countries like India. Yeah, India. I kind of find that most people in the US anyway are stuck in the mindset that, oh, India is where all the outsourced labor goes. Why would anyone from the West move to India? Well, again, personal experiences here. I have seen Indian contractors that I work with try to headhunt people. And not for a US employer. No, I'm talking about move back to India and work in their science and technology sector. While the West is stagnating, India is pushing full steam ahead on their space program. If going to space is something that interests you, you'd be better off in India than the US. And they know this. Hell, they tried to headhunt me too, funny enough, twice. When one of my previous companies was about to start circling the drain and everyone knew it was coming, one of the Indian contractors, right before he quit and went back to India, he basically told me, hey, if you ever want to move to Hyderabad, I can hook you up. We'd love to have you there. And they actually offered some pretty competitive pay too, at least when compared to what the cost of living would be there. I actually considered it. Didn't end up doing it, obviously, but it was an option. And it was an option that I would have 100% taken if I was persona non grata here in the West. And a few decades down the line, when the West finally starts feeling the pain for its stupid decisions, they won't be able to blame Asia for this. It's not like Asia is just stealing the West's best and brightest. The West themselves are discarding these people, and Asia's just like, hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Hey, you're more than welcome here, man. Your life's not over. So mark my words, man, sometime in our lifetime, we're going to see the effects of this, and it's not going to be pretty for a dying old empire. As someone commented on one of my videos, America fought tooth and nail to beat Russia in the nuclear space and military arms race. Yet within another 50 years, America is going to be dwarfed by countries like Russia and China in these fields. And at this rate, I have no sympathy for them for allowing this to happen. And I 100% agree. The way things are going, this is something that will happen in the next few decades. And the West can't complain about it because you guys did this to yourselves. And that's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.